Hey, I have been doing a word study on the word lamp, and it's just taken me through so many levels of understanding that I never thought it would. And it's connecting all these different parables and stories in the word that is just giving me so much understanding, and I wanted to share. Those of you who like to nerd out and just study the word, this might strike your fancy. And for those who need encouragement to stay strong through the storm that you're in, this might help you. So anyways, this word here is lamp. It's just the lamp, and it's Strong's number 5216. If you guys want, I can do a more detailed video. Just let me know. But the verse that really started me thinking on this is Proverbs 20, verse 27. The spirit of a man is a lamp of Yahuwah, searching all his inmost parts. I never really thought of it that way, as our spirit is the lamp, essentially the menorah, the light, the place where we are supposed to be lit up. And when we are with Yahuwah, he uses that light to search our hearts. So the description of this word is pretty straightforward. It's just literally a lamp, a vessel where you put oil and you light it. And it's used in the first time it's described in the word is when given an instruction for building a menorah in Exodus. But it goes on as I'm reading in Proverbs and Psalms and all the different stories in the Kings and the other books. Man, dude. Okay, so let me just lay it out. So the lamp is our spirit. When it is lit, Yah uses it to search our hearts. So Proverbs 20:27, I just read that. And then in Zechariah chapter 4, verses 2 and 10, let me read that to you. To Zechariah verse 4 and 2. And he said to me, what do you see? So I said, I have looked, and I see a lampstand, all of gold, with a bowl on top of it, and on the stand 7 lamps with 7 spouts to the 7 lamps. And skip down to verse 10. It says, for who has despised the day of small beginnings? They shall rejoice when they see the plumb line in the hand of Zerubbabel. These 7 are the eyes of Yahuwah, which diligently search throughout all the earth. So this lamp is a way that the Most High searches our hearts, our intentions, our thoughts within us and within the kingdom of Israel, like the real kingdom of Israel. And the other thing that I realized that the lamp is a light that we are to shine in the world so others can see. And that is the intention of the Most High, using us to bring others to the truth and to him. You think about the verse, and where is it? Oh gosh, I'm gonna put it up. I'll put it up on the screen. But it's in Matthew, I think, chapter 5, where it says, let your light so shine before men so that others can see your good works. And it's not to magnify us, it's to magnify the Father, really. And the third thing that I noticed is if our lamp is lit, it is a pillar to those that are in your care. So like your family members or those in your congregation. If you are a leader, looking at 2 Samuel chapter 21, verse 17, I believe this is David's last battle when he was getting old and he was struggling with the sword. So he was worried in the battle, and the soldiers told him not to go to battle anymore. And this is the part of the verse that it shows up. It says, lest you quench the lamp of Israel. So they were worried that if he died in battle, that his death would quench the lamp of Israel. He was like a pillar to Israel because the Most High was doing things. That's over and over. It says that the Most High did things for the sake of David, or even for the sake of Abraham, because of that light that he was shining. And see, another one here is the lamp, when it is lit, is our favor. So if we look at Job, chapter 29, verses 2 through 3, and this is when, Job is in despair. He's wallowing in his pain and misery. And it says, "Oh, that I were as in months past, as in the days when Elohim protected me, when his lamp shone on my head, when I walked in the dark by his light." So he had favor with the Most High. That fire, that lamp that was shining was part of his favor. So number 5, I saw that Yahuwah lights our lamp to light our darkness. And the darkness can't fight the light. When you shine a light, you turn that light on, the darkness can't. It just can't, right? It can't fight it. And so the verses for that, we have Psalm 119, verses 105. Let me pull that up. Psalm 119, verse 105. "Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path." And Exodus, if you're looking at Exodus, chapter 13, verses 21 and 22. Here, it says, I'm going to paraphrase. It says that the Most High, when he was guiding Israel through the wilderness, by day, he led them with a cloud, and by night, he led them with a pillar of fire. Every single day and night. Every single day and night. He was the light, lighting their path and guiding them and directing them. Okay, point number 7, I think it is. His commandments is a lamp to show us how to live. So his word is a lamp and his commandment is a lamp as well. So Proverbs 6:23, "For the command is a lamp and the Torah a light, and the reproofs of discipline a way of life." And then number 8, I found that if we are in wickedness, which if you don't know, wickedness in Hebrew, the actual meaning of wickedness in the ancient Hebrew, it literally means dysfunction. When you're doing something that's dysfunctional, you're not doing it for the purpose that it was done for. So walking or behaving in dysfunction. So if we are in dysfunction, our light is put out and we cannot see. So you could be a good person, but not walking in your purpose in the Most High. You're still walking in wickedness because you're not walking in function, the function that the Most High created you for. And there's a lot of verses that explain that. Let me read it to you. It's Proverbs 13:9. "The light of the righteous rejoices, but the lamp of the wicked is put out." So if that light is out, we can't see when we're in the darkness. Even if we're a good person, we know the truth, but we're not walking in it, we are spiritually blind. Proverbs 20:20 says, "Whoever curses his father or his mother, his lamp is put out in deep darkness." Proverbs 24:20, "For there is no future for the evildoer, the lamp of the wicked is put out." Jeremiah 25:10, when the Most High was talking about, let's see, what is he talking about here? Let's see. "And I shall banish from the voice of rejoicing and the voice of gladness and the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride and the sound of the millstones and the light of the lamp." When Israel was going through judgment and the Most High was talking about removing all the things, and one of the things was the light of the lamp, because they were walking in wickedness and following false gods. And Zephaniah chapter 1 verse 12, it says, "And at that time it shall be that I search Jerusalem with lamps and punish the men who are settled in their dregs, who say in their heart, Yahuwah does no good nor does evil." And the dregs, I had to look that word up. I wasn't sure what that is. It's dregs, dregs, and it's sediment in a liquid. And this scripture is particularly talking about wine, I believe, referring to wine, but it can refer to any liquid where you have sediment on the bottom. Usually we don't want to drink that, right? When we're trying to consume something, there's sediment of like tea or sediment of wine that's been sitting there for a very long time. It's useless. And in the ancient Hebrew, it can symbolize complacency and spiritual apathy. When people just get apathetic and content or complacent spiritually with the Most High, and they're not continuously renewing their mind with the word and constantly, because we're supposed to constantly be growing in the Most High, improving in ourselves and everything, because there's always something that we need to work on, because nobody is perfect. So we need to constantly be evolving spiritually, and I mean that in a biblical sense. That's what we're expected to do. So when we get apathetic and stagnant, we can't really see the Most High, can we? We can't really hear him. There's periods in our walk where we just don't hear him. We just get apathetic. That's a dangerous place to be. We can't see. And so we need to push through that. We gotta push through that. Okay. And another point that I saw, let's see here. My notes are really crazy. I've just been like, wow. So another point that I realized, that when we are faithful to do what is right, basically righteousness, you're walking in function in what your purpose is. When we're doing that to the best of our abilities, our lamp stays lit. So in Proverbs 31, chapter 31, verse 18, talking about the Proverbs 31 woman, she shall taste when her gain is good. Her lamp does not go out by night. And when the Most High was talking to Samuel when he was a child, I believe, if I remember correctly, I'm doing this off memory, when he first spoke to Samuel, he was sleeping by the menorah, I believe. That's when Israel, not many people were hearing from the Most High at that point. And he was literally speaking audibly to Samuel. And something that really came to mind when I've heard of people who used to be in witchcraft and Satanism, and when they used to walk in that, and now they found the Most High. They're sharing their experience and stories. I've heard multiple people saying stories of when they went to go put a curse or a spell or something on a believer that was on fire for the Most High. They literally could not, because there was fire in their homes or surrounding their home or surrounding them. They couldn't touch them spiritually. They had that fire. And I just thought that was really interesting. And to me, it's like not just a guidance and direction and a way of shining the light of the Most High. It's also our protection. There's so many different folds when it comes to the scriptures and with the Most High. He's never just does one thing. It's always multiple purposes for what he does. And talking about Job 29 verses 2-3, when he says, "Oh, that I were as in months past, as in the days when Elohim protected me, when his lamp shone on my head, when I walked in the dark by his light." And when the devil was going to and fro and talking to the Most High about Job, and the Most High was like, have you considered my servant Job? And the devil was like, man, I can't even touch him. You got a hedge of protection around him, because he had that favor on him, right? And so I thought that was interesting, that it doubles as a shield, a protection. And to elaborate on that, we're going to look at, let's see here, Zechariah 2, verses 5. It says, "For I myself am to her, declares Yahuwah, a wall of fire all around, and for esteem I am in her midst." This is when Israel's walls were down, I believe. So he said, I am going to be her protection. With fire, a wall of fire. And Isaiah chapter 43, verse 2, "When you pass through the waters, I am with you. Through the rivers, they do not overflow you. When you walk through fire, you are not scorched, and flame does not burn you." And this brought to mind, just a little side note here. When you're reading the scriptures, if you're learning how to study and stuff, when you're reading verses and something comes to your mind, like a parable or a Bible story or something is brought to your mind, that's how the Holy Spirit works. It's one of the ways that she works, where she will bring things to remembrance. That's what Yahusha, the Messiah, said. He said, I must go so that the Holy Spirit can come and she can remind you of the things that you've learned, that they've learned, and essentially the scriptures. Okay. So when I was reading that passage in Isaiah about when you walk through the fire, you are not scorched and the flame does not burn you. It reminded me of Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. If you don't know that story, you can look it up. They refused to bow down to this idol, and the king was mad and threw them in a furnace that was so hot that the people that threw them in died. Okay? But those men walked in there. And then it was actually, I believe it was the Messiah that was in there with him, or one of the mighty angels that was in there with him. They survived it. Not only that, they didn't even smell like smoke. You know how we go camping and you come back, you smell like a campfire. Like, they didn't even smell of smoke. And another side note, Abraham went through the same thing. If you haven't read the book of Jasher, read the book of Jasher. Abraham went through the same exact thing. He would not bow down to an idol and got thrown in a furnace. And you need to read that story. It's incredible. So then, and again with Exodus chapter 13, when the Most High was leading them by day, by fire, and by night, a day by cloud, and then by night, a pillar of fire. That was also their protection, not just their guidance, but their protection, because there were surrounding nations that saw that. And they were terrified. They were like, man, we don't want to be messing with this people because their God is mighty, right? And another thing about the lamp that was brought to mind when I was reading this is remembering Moses in the burning bush, that light. And think about Elijah. So remember Elisha, let's see, where is it? Second Kings chapter 6, verses 16 through 17. And let me read it. There was a servant. He was surrounded by this army. You should read that chapter. But he was surrounded by this army, and the servant that was with him said to him, "Oh, my master, what do we do?" And he answered, "Do not fear, for those who are with us are more than those who are with them." And Elisha prayed and said, "Yahuwah, I pray, open his eyes and let him see." And Yahuwah opened his eyes of the young man, and he looked and saw the mountain covered with horses and chariots of fire all around Elisha. That must have been a sight to see. Man. And then another thing that came to mind was Elijah. So Elijah, the original one, this is actually probably one of my favorite stories, because it just, I wish somebody would animate it to its full extent. When Elisha, it's in chapter, 1 Kings chapter 18, I believe. It's an incredible story where he's battling with Jezebel, and it's just incredible, where he basically, you need to read it if you haven't heard that story. It's just, I love it. He basically taunts the false prophets and tells them, okay, basically challenging them, saying, why don't you make a sacrifice to your God and I'll make a sacrifice to my God, but we don't light it with fire. We'll let our God light it up. And he said, I'll let you go first. You need to read it. I'm gonna butcher the story because it's just like an incredible story. But essentially, he makes it more difficult for the Most High by, not really, but like just trying to show off basically how powerful the Most High is by putting water on the sacrifice. So much water. And he waits for the prophets to call on their God to light up the sacrifice, and essentially it doesn't come. And he's taunting them. And then when it comes to his turn, he just calls on the Most High, and fire comes out of heaven, scorches up the water, and burns and consumes the sacrifice. And they all fell on their face. And he ended up killing those prophets, because that's what you do with a false prophet back then. They had to be killed. But man, that fire, this is incredible. And I know this goes way deeper than what I'm seeing. But anyways, I just thought I'd share. I don't even know if I'm going to post this because I'm rambling. Perhaps I need to organize this better. But just, man, There are just so many things that we can learn in studying the Word. And the Spirit is alive in this Word so much. I hope it encourages you to study on your own. This actually links to the 10 virgins and their lamps. In the parable of the 10 virgins, you have to keep your lamps filled. And in order to do that, you are obedient to the commandments. You're praying continuously, not just daily, but continuously, asking the Most High to guide you and protect you and discipline you. And we find you with that. We're also go through refinement through this fire. We got to burn off the old man, the flesh, right? Oof, man, it's a big word, and I might do an extension of this. But I hope this all blesses you. Shalom.